I'm going to ask you to use a two-dimensional material. So we're going to use coloured paper or whatever you have available at home to create a sculpture or a design that looks like an adventure playground. Now, because this is for young children, I think the brighter it is, the better it will probably be. But it's your design and the choices are yours. Now we're talking about design here, and design is what happens when someone produces ideas for something that looks good and works well, or at least that's what they hope. So have a look around you, have a look at all the things around you that have been designed. Televisions, computers, washing machines. In actual fact, to be fair, just about every single thing that you can see around you inside where you are at the moment will have been designed by somebody who has tried to design something that looks good and works well. Now, sometimes it's more important that it works well than it looks good, and sometimes the other way around. Depends on the job, really. Talking of jobs, we have a job ahead of us. Let's do it. Now, we spend a lot of time in art getting anxious and trying very hard before we have the skills to try and make our art look like something. I'm sometimes tempted in lessons to try and get you to make something or draw something or produce a piece of artwork that doesn't look like anything, which is much more difficult. With that in mind, I'm going to ask you to design some kind of adventure park, yeah? But obviously, a park is made out of steel and concrete and wood, and we don't have those materials. We're going to make it out of paper. So what we're going to produce doesn't actually really look like anything, but it should look fun. Here are a few ideas. If you imagine this is the ground, I found some purple paper. I'm going to cut that purple paper into a strip. Now this works quite well, I think, if you edge what you're cutting with a black line, yeah? That's far more on purpose. That's far more purposeful, yeah? Okay. Now, what we're doing here, remember, we're not working in 2D, we're working in 3D, so we're exploring different ways of making 3D work, yeah? I'm going to fold over the ends, and those are going to be the bits that stick to the base, yeah? So I get my glue stick, and put some glue on the tabs, and I'm going to stick that down randomly as it happens. I'll just stick it where it fell. Stick that side there and that side there. So already we're starting to create a three-dimensional space. Look at the beautiful, see how the light changes on there. Okay, now I'm going to try something a little bit different on the same lines. So I'm going to go zigzag. So this is just off the top of my head. What you come up with might be completely different. Fold over the tabs again. Glue stick the ends. Now, if you haven't got a large collection of coloured paper at home, it doesn't matter, because I don't see why you can't use any paper you want. And you could actually paint some paper, or you could cut up a magazine and use that. Right, okay, I'm going to go for something completely different now. One of these. Harder than it looks. Eh? Harder than I'd imagined, anyway. Oh. I'm going to cut that end off. Take your time, there's plenty of it. Make it look neat, make it look like a piece of design. Yeah? So that we have a slightly less regular shape. And that could come out of here. Okay, now let's have a thought. I know what I'll do. I think I'll get this different green, fold it in half. I'll cut one of these out of it. I'll stick that down somewhere. Could stick that on here. I think I've got another idea. Instead of a curved spiral, how about a squared spiral instead? What does that mean? Well, this is what I mean. Something like that. Again, trickier than it looks. And what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to glue down both ends of this squared spiral. And I might glue that down over. Actually, it could go round something, couldn't it? Okay. Right, let's create something different now. I've got some orange. So, can you imagine if this was maybe made out of steel or plastic and it was big enough for someone to crawl through? How much fun would that be? There's no reason why you couldn't have dangly bits as well, for maybe swings. Yeah? So I put this bit there, I could actually fold this, couldn't I? So it's a bit different from the other one. Let's try one more. What can we do? Let's think. Oh, I know. Let's do a kind of wiggly thing. Something like that. Of course, before you stick these down, you could colour them more, couldn't you? You could paint them, you could draw on them, you could draw patterns on them. I wonder what you can come up with. I bet you can come up with something better than me. I've started you off. I bet you can come up with something better than what I've started off with. There's a challenge. Right, and this bit could go over here. Imagine if you could play on this. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So there we have it. There's a start. What can you do? Wouldn't that be fun? So we've looked at some 3D or three-dimensional work. I've asked you to design an adventure playground. Lots and lots of decision making. In actual fact, design is very much about making decisions. Design is very much about thinking. Trying to make something look good, trying to make it work as well.